evening, everyone. You're watching the Tarot Talk Show on the Pair Encounters Network. I'm your host, Rebecca Brown, and I'm broadcasting from the beautiful hills of Northern California. It's a gorgeous day here. Spring has definitely sprung, and I hope you all had a really great holiday weekend. This is our second show on the Pair Encounters Network. If you missed our first show with Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, you can view that archive show by visiting our website, thetarottalk.com. You can also view all of our archive shows there. You can also read up on the guest bios and view our upcoming guest calendar. We are also on Facebook, The Tarot Talk Show, and you can tweet us at The Tarot Talk Show. So, you know that my BFF in Tarot Tim, is with me in the house tonight. Tim, my love, how are you?
I am doing wonderfully. Had a really good restful day after a stressful week, so it's all good right now.
Good, good. Well, I'm always glad to have you on. And like I said, my Mercury in Leo gets going. So anytime you have a thought, just feel free to interject.
Oh, I'm a Gemini. I have a thought every second.
Well, are you able
just hanging on to it?
Are you able to hang on to it? That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, good. Well, tonight's show is for all the dreaming girls and guys out there. It's also a Rebecca Brown Power Hour because my very special guest tonight is Rebecca Dorian Brown. She's an artist, writer, and the creator of the Dreaming Girl Highway Inner Vision Oracle cards. Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I am honored to be here. I have looked at the archives, and I know what I'm up against. Or what I'm in the blessed company of.
Yeah, well, I'm so excited to have you on the show. Like I said, you're the second Rebecca Brown that I've met through, tarot and the metaphysical. So it's super exciting for me to have you on the show to discuss your work. So, Rebecca, tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been an artist my whole life and dabbled in a million other things, of course, because that's what artists have to do. But I have been working on this deck like a mole in a hole for the last, I'm going to say 9 years now, since this is the year of my coming out with it. So it's an interesting experience to be in the year where I'm actually emerging out with this deck and meeting people like yourself. It's been a remarkable journey. I really couldn't have anticipated what it would be like to have it in my hands and to walk forward with it. I just did it in the dark, as one does these things, I guess. So This is kind of exciting and new. I feel very... I'm in a state of wonder over the process now of this opportunity. My gosh, the story of how we ended up connecting and I ended up being here is evidence of what this is like to come out with my deck. I suppose it. I don't know. I mean, I know the two of you have seen it. I assume, Tim, since you're at the store where this originated, that you've actually seen it.
I haven't seen the deck in person, but I've been through your website and I was looking through them all, and it definitely is a deck that speaks loudly. There's no shy girls around here.
I guess so.
But it's just strikingly beautiful, and I love the symbolisms and the color combinations and. I went through and I do have my favorites, so yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I'd love to hear what your what your favorites are.
Well, and for the viewers who don't know, like I had discovered Rebecca's work in the metaphysical shop in Dover, Delaware, Bell Book and Candle. I was back visiting. I still have friends there. I occasionally travel to the East Coast for appointments and festivals and readings and things like that. And I was browsing about the store, and I saw Rebecca's deck and book on the shelves, and I noticed right away it's by Rebecca Brown. And it was a very surreal moment because it was like, but I'm Rebecca Brown, you know what I mean? Like, I'm Rebecca Brown. And so it was funny and surreal at the same time. And I knew immediately I had to have you on my show. And then of course, I bought the deck and the book right away, to check it out. And I have some insights that I would love to share with you because this deck is fantastic. And just the short time that I've been working with it, it's truly amazing. It has such a voice and is like a spirit essence to it. It's just fantastic. But that's how we connected, is through the magic of Bell Book and Candle in Dover, Delaware. Delaware, and I got to tell you, that shop it's brought people together in so many ways. It's a very magical place, so if you get the chance to go, by all means do it. But tell us about your metaphysical background, Rebecca. Like, did you always grow up with tarot and the metaphysical, or is this something you've come around to?
Actually, my grandmother was a dowser back when it was considered extremely weird to do that. I'm going to say my grandmother was dowsing in the 50s and 60s. And my father had a row of books on his shelf about UFOs. So that's the kind of climate that we were in. It was a quiet. In the authentic. So that's basically it. But my metaphysical journey actually came with a... And it takes sometimes something kind of harsh to really throw you off the path. It's very comfortable to stay on the path of life night sometimes, but sometimes you have to get thrown into an adventure, and my adventure led me into a spiritual life, which I'd always been seeking, because the path of art is a seeking path too. So I was on this, at my age, you've had so many different challenges that to develop yourself. And I couldn't really begin to tell you how it led to this deck. All of a sudden, one day, this deck began to come out, and I really didn't recognize it right away. Friends recognized it. One of my very dearest friends sat down when I first had this art. I had a couple of these done, and they were just something I sort of had a need to do. I had been doing exercises for the sake of learning graphics, and then I started doing these images, and my friend sat down in front of my computer and cried.
Yeah.
You found it, your voice. I'm like, I did? But then they really, with a little permission, then they just flowed out. It was just hundreds of them came out, so.
Well, and it's a very distinctive voice, I think, and we'll get more into that, later on in the show, absolutely. But what I wanted to lead off with is what I lead off with every guest is, in one word, what do you feel lies at your core as a reader? Because you're an artist and a writer or a creator, but you're also a card reader, and I think that by asking this question of the guests, it's really brought up a variety of insightful responses, and I feel that it's really kind of shed some light on what it means to truly be a professional and a reader in this field, and I feel that it's also helpful for the people listening to really keep these words in mind, when it comes to looking for a reader, for someone. So, Rebecca Brown, in one word, what do you feel lies at your core as a reader? Service. Service is my word. I love that.
Because service is a state of yielding your ego and being allowed to be led for the purpose of caring for others. And it's a state of being cared for by God yourself, by spirit, however you may call it. It's entering into the bliss and the heart of love when you go into service. And turning over everything and allowing yourself to flow with what is beneficial and healing for others.
Yeah, so. I love that.
Beautiful.
I think that's a great word. Yeah, we've had all kinds of answers, and no one has said service yet. And I feel that absolutely that's a big part of what we do. And I think that your art really speaks to that. So let's talk about your deck, the Dreaming Girl Highway Inner Vision cards, available now on dreamingirlhighway.com. So creating a deck, and then birthing the deck, bringing it into existence is no small feat. So tell us about your inspiration. I know dreaming's kind of in the name. Was this like a dream, a vision for you, or how did it kind of come about?
Well, I wanted to find the essential feminine form for myself, and I like the idea of that my image, which is really extremely stylized. It looks like a horseshoe magnet in a triangle with a dot on top with two little sticks. It's very, very stripped down. There's nothing really feminine about it in a way, but it's sort of like, I have an art background, and I had all the history classes, and I know what is considered to be the feminine in symbolic terms. It's usually some reference to the fertility the bowl, the nurturing, the breasts, and things like that. But mine is probably my own. It's my experience of the dream itself. It's like the dream is the experience of the non-ordinary that we it's kind of our access to the other realm in a way. The dreams we have sleeping are just, they're a part of that. And they're maybe even our first real experience, full experience of the other realm while we're in our incarnated state. So to me, it's a bodiless body. It's a dream body. When you dream, your body changes. Your age changes. Your face changes. You don't have a face. You're bodiless, but you're present. So I was just thinking about those ideas when I came up with my stripped down form. I realized as I was doing it that I really wanted to try to develop an alphabet made out of the primary numbers of a human experience. That is what I wanted to do with this.
I love that. Yeah. And so what do you feel the Dreaming Girl philosophy is? Like the philosophy kind of behind the deck? I know you touched on it a bit in your bio.
To me, I'm trying. Well, my goal as a healer, as a reader, if I can say that, is integration. We enter the yang realm, we enter the physical realm, and we have to adapt we all have to adapt and learn gravity is non-negotiable, things like that. All of the attributes of the physical realm command our attention.
Yeah, we were talking about before. Yeah.
And then we have to go back and remember or rediscover the magical, creative, lyrical, playful child self. So that's the girl in my title, Dreaming Girl. The girl is the essence of your feminine nature that we all have. Mm-hmm. It is this playful, light, completely creative kind of life essence. So that's the girl, and the highway is your willingness to step into that and make a landscape for yourself of your other experience, to bring that back into yourself and to make it the 50% that's represented in the yin-yang. It ain't a 20-80, it's a 50-50, and that means that half of everything that we are is non-ordinary, our imagination, all that stuff.
I love that, and I love so the use of girl was very intentional then for that playfulness, and I love that because sometimes I feel that in this, I don't want to say this field, but sometimes with like the the metaphysical kind of new agey world, we get caught up in no, I'm a woman. Like I am a woman. I am not a girl. I am a woman, And so I feel like the girl kind of really brings it back to, like you said, that playfulness and that, essence of, fun and seeking that is the core of where we begin. And I think that's good stuff. I love it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, yes, it's Dreaming Girl, but it's totally not off-putting to the masculine at all. Mm-hmm. I connected with the deck very well when I was looking through and stuff. And in some aspects, it was almost like it's the divine, so it's almost asexual. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Because I was feeling a lot of masculine and feminine traits in some of the cards. There definitely was a 50-50 going on there.
I am so happy to hear you say those words. In my estimation, who knows what's in that little black triangle? Really?
It's just creation, so...
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Well, I had a thought and I lost it. What was I going to say? Oh, and what I love about your deck, and there's a couple others that, they don't immediately come to mind, but they're there, just other tarot and oracle decks, your deck, where you can really see yourself in the cards because they are faceless. They are, they have no ethnicity or race, like you can see yourself in that card. And I really love it when that happens, like when the deck artist does that. And I think that it's great.
I was actually, when I was going through, Tumbling Down just grabbed me. And, which is number 11.
Mm-hmm.
And Rebecca doesn't know, we were talking before, she doesn't know the song, but you might. when I'm looking at it, I kept hearing "Stumbling In" by Susie Quattro. If you remember that from back in the day.
I don't know.
You have to sing it.
YouTube it when we're done, because
YouTube it.
It's really about. It's about love, and it's about. It's not safe and sanitary, and it's just you kind of just have to let yourself roll with it and go. And I was very connected to that. It's a beautiful image, also.
Thank you. I love so much to the definitions and breadth of the cards to me. You just gave me a wonderful idea about that card. The card's just evolving. Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's about what?
No, I said he gave me something wonderful for that, a wonderful take home for that card. I can't wait to write the revised book, including these great responses.
That's great.
It's so interesting when you create something like that, and other people get something completely different than what you had in your mind when you did it. I think that's always beautiful. And, 3 people can look at a picture and you have 3 different definitions.
Well, and because these readings should be about the person who perceive it. That's, it's your intuitions that create the reading. So, yeah, that's your story, is this free fall, this kind of pleasurable ride.
Well, and on that note, I noticed that you call it the Dreaming Girl Highway Inner Vision cards. It's not the Dreaming Girl Highway Tarot. It's not the Dreaming Girl Highway Oracle. It's Inner Vision cards, which I feel speaks to what you just said, because Tarot and Oracle kind of sheds a divination kind of light on it. But what you've done, with Inner Vision is really make the cards for the person and what's going on. Speak to that. I'm like, so speak to that. How it's different in this way.
Yes. Well, I'm going to use the box quickly here. On the box, you can see the reading, which is really about that. I'm sure, Rebecca, you've noticed because you have this box.
I do. Right here
is the reading layout. There it is. And I created a chakra layout because I want this as close as I can get it to the querent, just in them, because
I love it.
The chakra points are the points where this is so beautiful. I love the layers of this as I discover them.
Well, and this really quick, this is the poster behind you, correct?
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Okay.
So these the chakras are the places where where the non-ordinary body intersects the physical body. They are the concentrations of energy that happen where spirit intersects form. That's where I want the information to go when you're reading. I want them to be in you. I want you to embody them. Yeah. So yes, I want this to be as deeply personal. And I always have my client shuffle the deck, and I tell them I am the guide that is drawing your vision into, integrating it in. And integration would have been my second choice of a word that describes what this is, because we don't want to just bring the feminine and be all about the feminine. 50-50. We want to get the dialogue between the feminine and the masculine within us to make us perfect and whole. We're the gateway to creation. Form is a beautiful, amazing thing, and spirit integrated into it is what connects us to the divine.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, walk us through the chakras that you have, because like you said, you want to integrate this into the body.
The first one you lay down is the story card, which you place on the solar plexus. That's the overarching story. Like you could draw a spiral out from that and touch all the other points. And the next one you put is the one that's right over your head, which is the transpersonal point, which is where life comes into the body by many spiritual disciplines. The monks, the Buddhist monks believe that life comes into the crown, and it's also in mystical Christian traditions that life comes in through the crown.
The halo. Mm-hmm.
That's right. The halo. The halo is, it's like the holy orifice or whatever, isn't it? So life comes in on point number 2. So that's the connection to source card. The third position is the third eye, vision or sight, or your extraordinary perception, that which you are focused upon. And the fourth card is your throat. Now, this one got me because I knew there had to be a throat card, but I hadn't a clue when I did it how it was going to be revealed. Now I know what it is, which is awesome. But I had to trust it and then discover it. So the throat chakra is the communication and the authority and the authorship, but it's also for the feminine. You know, when the feminine, or when women, or when people who are in a feminine energy bring something in, they talk about it. They noodle about it. They start to imagine it and bring it into what I call a preformed state, and then they bring it into the world of form. So I call this the preformed card. This is the card where something is up and you're thinking of bringing it in, type of a thing. Or it can literally be a communication in the real world, and that is where, you know, you look at the entire story and you begin to see what the nuances are and which thing is how to interpret. The next one,
I love this voice. That I've got something to say, and I'm going to express myself. You know, and I love that. And I think that, especially for girls, women, the voice is so powerful.
It's a tool for procreation. You know, it is how we bring things in. To me, that was like, it's true, we do.
Yeah,
but men can be totally balanced in the feminine and do that too.
Yes,
and so 5 is the heart. We all know what that one is. 6 is the belly, and that is balance and wellness. And the interesting thing about that card position is, I used to think, does that mean that this is an imbalance? It can mean anything, but I mean, it's anything that has to do with balance and wellness. But what it has been in a number of situations that was surprising and marvelous to me was that it means that something that might look challenging is something that the individual thrives on. Not everyone would be able to thrive on a challenge like that, but they need it. It's the meat and potatoes. It's their vigor. It's what they like.
Well, it's their core, because I know on my box 6 is like the core, and I asked you what lies at your core, so it's like what you're pulling from, what you're drawing from, what the root of it all, really. And I feel like in tarot terms, that's the Sun tarot card to me. It's the Ace of Pentacles. Like, it's that solid core that kind of resides in you that you pull from, and that's where your light comes from. So, I love that.
That's true. That's the heat radiating center, isn't it? And then down below is the root or foundation or physical environment kind of card. I consider the foundation, identity, or it could be your environment, And then these are 2 that I knew I wanted to have them, but now it was marvelous to me that there is a symbol language of the hands. That in Christianity, Jesus sits on the right hand of God because he's drawing spiritual energy through the left hand. I thought that was awesomely cool. And also, I think Native American, there are a number of traditions that have the left hand as receptive and the right hand as manifesting. So that is indeed what they are. Left, it can be receiving, it can be willingness or attracting, and right can be shedding, getting rid of, manifesting, creating, putting something out there, or making a definite choice about something, that kind of thing. And the 10th card is my card, which I have to be redundant about to people. They just cannot imagine that I really mean that they're supposed to look at the cards and intentionally pick one out. But then when they realize they get to do that, they get very excited. But that's a new thing that I took a chance on, was to make. And the reason that's become increasingly important in my readings, because that is the point where they take charge of their story. And then they want to pick 5 or 6, but interestingly enough, it does end up being 1 that they settle upon for that influence.
I love that. Yeah, because then the reading becomes about, like, what do you want? What do you want to see? What do you want to create? What do you want to be? Yeah, I love that. Yeah, mindful medicine.
Mindful medicine. Or if they see a card that is a little scary to them in the reading, even though I always interpret for the highest good, and there's always a transcendent meaning to every card of the deck in any position. But nonetheless, it can be quite challenging, and it can feel that a little, on that. But when that will be where they place their mindful medicine card. If this is the card that makes you feel uneasy, temper it. Bring something to it. Bring water G in it. Is it too hot and too scary to you? Cool it with a water card, or put some green mother energy in, because she loves you all the time. She's going to love you right through.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
I have to tell you, I love this reading. I love the whole thing, and I'm a Reiki master also, and the whole spiral, I'm absolutely on fire right now just looking at the reading. I'm definitely going to have to incorporate this into my practice, because that's a beautiful reading. I love it. It definitely has a flow to it and an energy that's working with the universe as opposed to against the universe.
Or merely being a spectator, I think is a piece of it also. Yeah, if you're taking them and being close to the cards and integrating them in that way, I think that's really beautiful. So, Rebecca, was there a card that you really was difficult for you to create? And, well, did you always know you wanted 78 cards in the deck, I should say? And then was any one hard for you to really get right?
Oh, probably about 78 of them. But no, some of them were more simple. I don't know why some of them were more simple than others. But, there was one I wanted to do, and I was wondering if it was my ego or my issues. This card right here, I wanted to do this so badly, and I thought, it sounds so frivolous. But it ended up being very, very meaningful, and that is cake. Cake sounds like a food issue, doesn't it? Oh yeah, cake. But in fact, I realized that this is a great symbol, this big fancy cake, and she's on top of it there with her spark. Is a giant cake. What is taking place is a hierarchical power shift in the tribe. Every time there's a big cake, tribe gathers, people spar, they negotiate, leadership changes, support changes. Tribes can be broken apart by cake events, or they can become stronger. But people change rank when there's a cake. So that was an interesting story. It wasn't a difficult card to do. It was really just nothing but fun. But the overall, as I did the cards, finding the story in them and discovering that there was more connection than I realized between them, it sometimes changed the individual cards. Is that your dog that I heard? Oh,
that's not me.
Okay.
Some critter. Maybe it's ghost.
There's a ghost. But is there any particular cards you have a question about, or a thought on, or anything special?
Is there anything in particular that you have had kind of a challenging relationship with? Because I know I asked that of the tarot deck artists that I have on. Like, is there one card that you have a challenging relationship with, or something? Because I know Tim and I, we've both been kind of open about what our challenging cards are for us that we're having trouble working through at this point in our lives. So I was wondering, is there for you any one card that you had kind of an interesting or challenging relationship with?
Well, I usually think of the challenges as having the card in the deck and trying to read for the highest good makes some of the cards more challenging, and I go, it's hard for me not to clench my jaws and go, oh no, when I see a card in a particular spot, until I begin to discover how redeeming it is. So I guess one of the cards that I have a difficult time with, because I like to think of my cards as all being able to be something that can be embraced and held in a way that makes people feel good. But this card is difficult to it's challenging to bring people. That would be the gift, which is the card that has Kali, bloody Kali, standing over her pile. Because it reminds me of some of the cards that in the tarot, in the traditional tarot, that I found scary. But it's about fear. It's about the fear of death. It's about going through the web, the inevitable passage through the web that we all make. and coming to terms with it. So some things are hard, and that's hard. It hurts and it's scary, and finding a loving way through that is, it's just part of the life journey. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, good. I like that. Yeah. I wanted to share with you an insight that I had using your deck that was pretty powerful for me, and it was unexpected. It was just one morning I was, writing in my journal, and I usually pull a card from just whatever deck I have that's near, and I kind of write my thoughts on it. But this came, I think it was after, I think I'd had a therapy session maybe the day before, and so a lot of things were kind of in my mind as I was thinking, processing. And I ended up sitting down with your deck, and I pulled out the Who I Am card, which is the dreaming girl surrounded by these funhouse mirrors. And it really spoke to me in the sense that, in a way, we're all dreaming girl in the hall of funhouse mirrors, because every relationship we have, be it with parents, friends, lovers, whoever, in a way, those people are like these mirrors propped up to us, and in every mirror we see something different. In every person we see something different about ourselves. Maybe we like this, maybe we don't like that, but like the funhouse mirrors, the image is distorted, and it's not seeking ourselves in these other people is never going to be a true reflection of who we are, of who I am. And it kind of led to this, this meditation with this card of just being in this hall, this dark hall of funhouse mirrors, and kind of transitioning through them. And in every mirror there's something different, in one mirror you're too tall, in another you're too short or wide or whatever. But then at the end of this hall of mirrors, there's this, I just had this image of this one perfect mirror where nothing is distorted and the lighting is great, and it's in this great frame, and it's this is it, right? This is the image of who I am, going back to the card, who I am, this perfect, image, and it's great. Well, the door to the hall still doesn't open. And the point of, I think, of that meditation for me was that perfect mirror that is reflecting this perfect self of who I am, supposedly, is still a mirror. It's still an illusion. And I think that, once I realized that, that's when the door to this hall of mirrors, opens, and I walk out. And it was, it was very powerful for me, and it really was a moment, because it helped tie up all of these things for me. Just seeing myself and other people, it's always going to be an illusion. It's never going to be the truth and who I am. So it was good. It was good. It was good.
It was beautiful. My gosh, that was fabulous. That was such a beautiful meditation.
It's powerful for me. So I wanted to thank you that this was good. It's very powerful. It's a little deck, and it's got all that from the imagery, and I loved it.
Oh, that is wonderful. Wow, I am going to be thinking about that now. That is absolutely wonderful. I really love to do little meditations with classes and things like that, about things like that. That is wonderful. That reminds me of another card, which is about that very thing. It's called Known World, and it's got on it just a little dreaming girl in a little tiny window in this big field of stars. And it's about exactly what you said about how that I love that last mirror where it's perfect, and then you realize the door still isn't open.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because perfection is something you created for yourself in that mirror, but it's still an illusion about having a body.
Yeah, it's still a mirror. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still an illusion. Yeah. It doesn't. It's pretty powerful.
The known world is about that illusion. She's inside this little tiny window of the known, and she's looking out at the incredibly infinite, endless night that is the real, you might say. And it's about how little you know, and when you really realize that our whole life is spent adapting to what we can know and filling in the cracks enough so that we can put our pants on in the morning and go about our business. And it's just that to allow yourself to see fully so that you can to live a life of wonder. You look out at that. You allow yourself to look out, but the fact that we can never know means that most of what we hold as facts is actually beliefs, for one thing. And when you realize what a fabric it is, well, there's a good and a bad to that. It's terrifying on one side to realize how little we can know, and it's exhilarating to see how wonderful and amazing and constantly revealing it is. But that we are born into it with us being the connection between the spirit and the physical realm as a human being. That's where we take the path of self-compassion. It's self-compassion and compassion that enables us to keep our eyes open to all of that, and to be available to the new, and to realize that it's all going to be different and new all the time. So that's what spurs us on to the path of love, is to be able to live with that. Something like that.
There was Known World was actually one of my favorite cards when I went through. I wrote down 6 cards that spoke to me, and that was like the third one.
Wow. What were your thoughts?
It was, to me, it was like being in the center of the universe. It's like you are totally connected to everything and everyone, and while you have the essence that is you, all of those stars are different aspects that are available if you're just willing to like open that window and let them in. It was beautiful. And the blackness doesn't scare me. It's inviting to me.
That is wonderful. I love that. That's very magical.
What else, Tim? What else was on your list?
Actually, the first thing that really caught me was Labyrinth.
Oh, I love that one.
Labyrinth and Search both really spoke to me together as like a team, because it is like the journey that you're on through this magical realm, and you're looking for something, you're searching for your truth. And then, of course, the tumbling down, which is just like let go and let it happen for me. Like those 3 work very, very well together for me as a trio. Because if you trust the experience and the journey, sometimes it's nice just to let it happen and not be so fearful and put up these walls and blockages. And I think that this deck is a wonderful tool to allow you to address those fears and move beyond them and let that truth speak for you. So this is definitely on my list to get. It's beautiful. And thank you for sharing your gift with us.
Thank you for bringing your insights. I was so overawed when I listened to you to talk to your other guests, at your knowledge and your insights. I was blown away. And now to have you bringing them to me, they are definitely going to be going into my teaching. The way you tie those cards together made it like, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. You're allowing yourself to open your mind to the beautiful constellation that's open to you. You're trusting in your path, and then you're flying along because of this. You're allowing yourself to be moved along and trusting to the elements. You make it into a wonderful connection.
Well, you know what I think is funny for me with the Who I Am card that was so powerful for me, and I got so much out of it. That's card number 14 in your deck. And in tarot terms, Arcana 14 is the Hanged Man, who I have been very vocal about having Tim's laughing. Yeah. who I've been very vocal about, since the show started. Like, I hate the Hangman, because he keeps coming up and he keeps, like every reading, it was my birthday year reading, it was the Hangman. Every reading, he's front and central. And even with your deck, this is card 14, the Hangman. But I mean, it really made sense to me because I feel that the Hangman in the tarot is very much about, I've got my numbers mixed up again, don't I? Hangman's Arcana 12. I did it again. What is wrong with me? I did this last week. I got to make my numbers mixed up. Because it's Hangman, Death, Temperance. Okay, so this is Temperance. Okay, never mind. But I still feel it's, it's within that vein. But, yeah, Temperance, the contemplating, and
well, that's also balance, just like the Hangman is all about balance.
Well, it's connected for you somehow. It's connected for you because that card is a state of kind of suspension. She is hanging in that card. She's stuck in these lies about who she is because there are other people's ideas of who she should be, and she's lost. She's a little bit lost. The Hanged Man is a state of suspension, right?
Yes, I think we're getting there. Okay, so we're getting there. That's what That's what I was getting from this. Yes, the state of suspension before the transformation. Like I said, being in that suspended state in the Hall of Mirrors before the transformation, before the door opens and you walk through and you're not the same person after that realization. Like, yeah, okay, so got it. All right. We got there. We got there with a little help, We're good. So
us Rebecca Browns all.
This is so embarrassing. Like, I know what I'm talking about, I swear. And here I've got like second show messing up my numbers. Yeah, but this was good. It like really spoke to me. A Hangman lesson for sure about being in the suspension, really reflecting on those lessons and who I am. I feel like that's definitely, one of the messages of the Hangman. So speaking of the Hangman, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I can't find I have your book, but I couldn't find it in the massive piles of mess in this office. But I thought in your book, when I was reading it, that in a couple places, I thought you made a reference maybe to some tarot. Is that true? Like there's a little bit of tarot woven into this?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, it is the father and mother of the language of the randomized divination. It's the deal, we all, those of, what can we say? You could say it's the Bible if you like. It is the
tarot is my Bible. I'm not scared to say that. Absolutely. Yeah.
No, I have many decks and have enjoyed reading from them through the years.
Yeah. So what cards from Dreaming Girl Highway Intervision cards kind of pull from tarot symbolism and tarot archetypes for you?
Well, I have Hanging, which is my Hanged Man. And, of course, I have a number of death cards, and I have love cards. Because my deck is feminine, I had no problem having multiple death and multiple love cards and multiple smearing, the way things blend and weave together. I have no less than 6 Fools in my deck. I think that's great. I have the
I think that really speaks to the highway in the name, really, the exploration and the journey. Yeah, I love that. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then the drama Fool. I could teach a whole class on that. That has taught me. The drama card has taught me new stuff. Of course they're teaching me. I mean, I'm call it a channel if you like, but I put it there, and then I learn from it like crazy through the wisdom of people like yourself that I'm so blessed to meet and have this wonderful experience with. But people who bring their insights and become woven into the story. So the drama card has 3 players on the stage. One is I identify them as the winner, the loser, and the prize. And they represent the karmic negotiating that we do throughout our life. And to me, it was fascinating to realize that in any situation you're in, some kind of what appears to be a karmic dyad, because we're usually in dyads. We'll usually, if we identify a challenging situation we're in, there's going to be some kind of a polarity, where even if you're up against 6 other people in where you work or whatever, it will feel like a dyad. But when you realize that there's a third player in every situation like that, that is when you get enough awareness to really manipulate the situation and to move more powerfully in the situation. When I realized that no matter what it looks like, there's always a third element. That was my big epiphany with that.
That's right, and I love that. So do you have a favorite in your deck?
I have a card that I feel like kind of tells the story of the deck, and that is Water Daughter.
I love that image. Yeah.
She is wrapped around a giant pearl, and the ocean waters are swirling around her. Some people think the water looks like it's caressing her, that it's, holding her in a womb-like thing. But my story of the Water Daughter is that Water Daughter was born into the physical realm, and the Great Mother gave her a birth gift, and the birth gift was a grain of sand, because to be born into the physical realm is to be born into the realm of pain. Life hurts. It disappoints us. It gives us flaws. Physical life, combined with the sensitivity of our spirits and emotions and things, we early on experience a wounding of some kind, and we have to fight with our beautiful immortal vision and the limits of a carnate life. Our whole life we spend questioning that and shaping it and exchanging information and love with other people. And so she takes her grain of sand that hurts from the very beginning, and that no one else can even see that wound. Just as we don't know the time we don't pick up the little baby, how much their heart is really broken, And so she takes her grain of sand and she applies her creative intelligence to it, and she begins to mold it, and it grows as she shapes it to make her flaw and her pain and her exploration, to make it something bearable to live her life with. And the more she learns to interact with others, the more love she receives in her life, the more joy she has at her life. It forms this pearl, and it becomes her pearl beyond price. It becomes the pearl of her transformation. It's the beauty in her that she brings to love's heart shrine.
I love that. And that really feels like the world tarot card to me. That sense of when you have that pearl of wisdom and that which you've created from this long journey. Yeah, I love that.
It feels very Gaia to me, like the Earth Mother. It is almost like it's the wisdom of the universe, and she's becoming a part of that, and her experience is a part of that. And of course, water's always emotion. So it's everything she's learned on this emotional level it really is like a caress. And that's a very profound card. Love that.
You are so much more versed than I am. I didn't know what was emotion. I just did it,
That's good. That's that intuition.
What?
I said that's good. That's that intuition where you're just doing what feels naturally to you. I know I go by elementals when I read, but not everybody does. Like some people feel that the swords are fire, and you know what I mean. Like, and some people don't stick to it hard and fast. It works for me, but not for everybody. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about your deck, and also just about tarot in general, is I really feel that you can work with it intuitively, and whatever feels natural to you is great, is fine.
I actually think the best readers are those who have studied and have knowledge, but then have learned to trust themselves so they can let go of that knowledge and let their truth come forward. And I think this deck it's beautiful for that, because it's close enough to the tarot that you can read symbolism into it, but it's not dogma where you have to. I think it's very free-flowing and thought-provoking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We like that around here, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. We like to keep flowing. We definitely are not, yeah, strict tarot, traditionalists, I guess is the word for it. But yeah.
You asked me earlier if there was some reason why it was 78 cards. I never answered that question. The truth is, I really thought it would be maybe 97 or 103 or something like that, and I was perfectly willing for it to be some weird number like that. And doggone if it wasn't 78. I'm telling you, it just was. I had about 5 or 7 other cards that I was going to put in, and I realized they were not prime numbers, that they were combinations of existing symbols. So numerologically speaking, 78 cards is how many cards is in the deck, I guess. Because isn't that wild? It just was.
I think that's great.
That's so interesting because, 7 and 8's 15, which breaks down to 6, which is search. So you found your answer.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh, you gave me a piece of sacred geometry that I'm taking to the bank. It's wonderful. That is.
And I don't even do numerology. That was just.
It's good. Yeah.
Maybe it's geometry. I'll go with it, whatever it is.
No, I love that there were 78 then, just naturally. Yeah, because there's 78 cards in a tarot deck and 78 cards in your deck, and I think it's definitely meant to be. So, Rebecca, what's next for you? What's next for Dreaming Girl? Like, is there something that you're working on right now that you can share?
Well, I have made prints, which I honestly wasn't sure how they would come out. I didn't know if the images were strong enough, and they held up beautifully. The prints are awesome, so that's really kind of fun. My weak point is technology. I have got to get more friendly with my website and get these things on there. It would be helpful to actually have them for sale, and So I have prints, and I've been writing meditations. I've been teaching and experimenting with that. I love lecturing and teaching. It's really turned out to be incredibly rewarding. And I'm going to do some meditations because there are meditations that are coming out of this lore for me that are kind of like the story that's in the cards is people's story, and the meditations that I'm going to be putting out some CDs eventually are about they're another tool for helping people to own their story, to help them own their journey, for them to feel that intense, immediate sense that if they can access their intuitive side, they can explode their life, with freeing themselves up. That's another thing that I talk about is clearing the psychic windshield. I feel like the Yang world and the things we learn, they're like old newspapers glued on our psychic windshield. So there's things that restrictive thoughts, and I like to learn different ways of teaching people to release the restrictive thoughts, like the Yang idea that we have to have a huge plan in order to change our life. That's an example. We don't need a plan. We need an imagination to change our life. We have to imagine being able to change it and then step into that, and we don't have to write a business plan to change our lives. That's restrictive. What a restrictive notion, So I'm working on what kind of tools can I use as I expand my teaching and my presentations to make that more available, more immediate for the people that come to me. Because the people that come to me and love this deck are special people like yourselves, really. People that I'm awed by.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And I have to say, you have a great following, I have to say, because we have seen quite a spike in the Facebook likes since I started promoting you on the show. So again, thank you to your fans for supporting the show, supporting the page. We sure appreciate it. So, Rebecca, how can the viewers get in touch with you?
They can reach me through my website, dreaminggirlhighway.com, and they can email me from there, and soon they will be able to actually call me if they wish to place an order by phone. Not yet. Right now they're going to have to PayPal me or send me a check if they want product, but they can certainly come there and find out what's going on, and I will love to hear from them if they wanted to comment or anything like that, it's my website for all of these things. And I am available at many stores in the Chicagoland area. I do readings out of a lot of stores here, most of them, in fact, know me or have product in my little tiny neck of the woods here in Chicagoland area.
That is great. Yeah, that is greenway.com website on thetarottalk.com, along with her bio, so you can read all about her. And Tim, what is next for you? What's going on? How can the viewers get in touch with you?
Well, you can find me at Timothy's Tarot on Facebook, or if you're in the Dover, Delaware area, I do readings out of Bell Book and Candle. And 678-4545. I'm available Monday through Saturday, whenever you need me.
And how's your blog coming along?
When I actually go on and write, it's coming pretty good. I had a cold, so it's kind of the last week I've been slacking.
Oh, that's okay. You need to listen to your body, right? Listen to that voice that needs to take a break. So
when I'm on NyQuil, all I can read is the funny papers.
Oh, that's funny.
Rebecca, I forgot one thing, if I may just tell you. I am going to be reviewed in Sage Woman magazine in June. I forgot to tell people in case they don't know.
Oh, that's right. I heard that. Congratulations. Yes, Sage Woman magazine. Awesome. Very, very good. Well, congrats. That is great. Yeah, and keep us updated on what you're doing. Absolutely. And we can always post that stuff up on the show website and Facebook it, and yeah, let us know what's going on for sure. We'll love it.
Thank you so much. You have honored me. I feel so completely wonderful about doing this.
Thank you. Good. Good you had fun. Well, folks, that's all we have for this episode of Tarot Talk Show. I'm your host, Rebecca Brown. You can get in touch with me by visiting my website, Brown Tarot, and you can also visit my blog, 365daysoftarot.com. And, you can always email the show, the Tarot Talk Show at gmail.com, with your comments, questions, and general areas of inquiry. So shoot me a message. I would love it. That's all we've got for tonight. Next week, join us as Judy Thomas is, my very own personal fairy godmother and Bell horoscope astrologer, is in the house to discuss astrology and the tarot. So I love her. I know you all love her as much as I do, and I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see you next Monday on the Tarot Talk Show. So mote it be.